Ready? Alright, I'm Ezra from 6C Lieutenant A, and this is our first robot. Kinda sucks, but we're gonna ignore that. Few disclaimers. It is a Clawbot. Do not build a Clawbot. We tried our best. It did not go as we wanted. We will say that if you want to build a robot like this for some reason, have good programmers. This is very program heavy. That's the only reason it worked any bit as well as we thought. So if I started off, I'm going to show you, essentially, the robot has a 0 position in order to get the arm and the claw in the same spot. So the claw, if you raise it all the way up here, there's a screw underneath that will be able to hit bottom here, and then that's where the 0 position will end, and the same thing for the arm hitting the shaft up here. So if I just run that real quick, it'll always move all the way up here, and then it'll grab there. It'll always grab here, so we have the preload ready and all that. Essentially, there's a total of like 50,000 states in this robot, so I'm not gonna run through those. That's just do whatever you want there. The general idea is our claw will of course be able to pick right up off the ground, and then we also have the function of we can grab with either the bottom and top with just toggle on and off type things. And then the best part about it though is if we have a function of double clicking for different functions linked to the arm, which is in the left, and the claw on the right. So if I double click with the right, it'll flip, and if it's at the lowest state on the ground, it'll raise up a little bit and do that. So you can see that here. And then doing that, I'll be able to drive around and pick up another ring. And then one of the most interesting parts about our robot is, of course, the Mogo picking up type thing. So we ended up, it will pick up the Mogo decently consistent, simply just because of it's encasing it in the entire robot. But all it'll do is it'll just line up in here. We have plastic sleds in the center to allow us to go right in here, and then we can just clamp down basically. And then in order to score on the Mogo while we are possessing it, we can go down to, this is like the state 2, ignore the shaking, I don't know why it does that now. Essentially, and then we can do the double click with the arm buttons to allow us to internally score, and then any other button to just get out of that state. And then we can do the same thing of picking them up again, flipping, and picking up another one. And then you always have to double click on the second state so you don't accidentally do it on the lowest state and internally score. So we just go up and internal score again, let go. And that's just because motors are repeated. And then the biggest downside here is we can't score 2 on the last one because of a function of the claw I will explain later. But essentially, we'll have to do 1 at a time for the last 2, but it's not the end of the world. That wasn't really the focus of this robot. The next thing that we also liked is, opposed to any like intake bots and whatnot, we could properly score externally on other mobile goals, which was nice for Goal Rush. It was also pretty decent at the wall stakes. Could have been better, but that was just oversights on our part. What other stuff is there? What is it? Oh yeah, the claw function. So, in case you didn't notice, the claw is kind of large in terms of the spacing of it, but the reason we did that is for something in Auton, which you probably saw in another video on my personal robotics channel. But essentially, we have the whole function of, here, I'm gonna remove the mobile real quick, just to better demonstrate it. But if you come over to the corner here, we have the function of, the claw is spaced out perfectly, so these corner stacks, we can grab 2 at a time of our same color. So if I go all the way down to the bottom, and this is mainly an Auton function, but I can essentially grab here and here, and then back up, and then go up, and then I'll be able to immediately just drop that one. And then you can see that in Auton, we'll do that and then do the internal score on the Mogo. A few other interesting parts about the robot is, of course, the whole wrist function is neat. It's just a half motor, 1 to 5. It's decently simple. The way we had the hollow robot, though, is a solution, but definitely not the best, is we have the 6-motor drive motor stack. It's on 450 RPM, but because of the extra gears, it slowed down a little quicker than some others, but it still had the same like top speed and whatnot. We have the 1.5 motors for the lift, a little fast for what we really needed, but it did have enough power to get off the ground. And then in order to lock it, we just had a simple like thrown on in 2 seconds ratchet down here, so we can just throw that on hang. We have some odometry pods in the back here with the new 2-inch Omnis. They worked pretty well, except for the fact that we didn't use it because we were still working on coding the odometry, but it is nice to test and all that. We have 2-piston Mogo clamp, pretty darn simple, exactly what you'd expect. But, I mean, that's the whole gist. In terms of thoughts of this robot, the thing I really liked was the claw, because that was the one part that I actually wanted to work right. But I will say, if you were planning on doing a claw bot, do it better than this. There's a few things that I plan on using similar to this robot, but I mean, that's pretty much it. Thank you.